So, passwords are stupid, I think. We've got passwords for everything, and no one can remember them all, and they're all stupid. You got to have a symbol and a capital letter, and um, I'm just constantly resetting passwords, and I have a pretty good memory for that stuff, and I think it must be worse for my parents who have more, I don't know, they have more valuable things to protect, that's for sure. And theoretically, anyway, they have worse memories because of the aging process. Um, so it seems unfair to me. And the other day, we couldn't figure out the password to the digital New York Times subscription, and I was thinking, well, that would have been one that's harmless to maybe just write down on a big piece of paper and leave somewhere in plain sight, because who's going to abuse that? Certainly not anyone you have to your house who's a friend. And like, let's say some people break in, let's say they're meth addicts. I'm not trying to pick on meth addicts. Some of my best friends are former, recovering meth addicts. None of my best friends are recovering meth addicts, but I know plenty of people I like a lot have done meth, and plenty of times in my life I would have done meth were it to have been right in front of me. That's how, I've been there. So my point is just that they have a reputation, meth addicts, active meth addicts, they have a reputation for property crime, fair or not. And they also have a reputation, at least in my brain, as being sort of not the most intellectual. So I'm imagining them, if they were to break in, they wouldn't try to steal your New York Times digital subscription. But maybe that's all totally unfair. If so, I apologize. But I'm not apologizing to any meth addicts, because it's not like they know how to work the internet. Anyway. So yeah, passwords are stupid. And in the future, the whole house is going to be password crazy, Like, you can imagine someone, in a house like 30 years from now, like, honey, I can't use the bathroom because you didn't write down the password to the door, the Star Trek door that requires a password to get into I can't even get into the bathroom. And probably to get into the bathroom, let me guess, you didn't write down the password to the toilet opening. So I'm pretty much double screwed. I guess if I can find the e-shovel, I'll go into the backyard and defecate there. Thank you, honey, for that. So that's one possible imagining of the future. I mean, they should just probably work on their relationship. It sounds like they've got bigger problems than just the bathroom. But so last time we were talking about the animals. If you made animals smarter, so they're like as smart as us, lots of them would be assholes. I'm convinced that's true, and it's fun to think about that, but I was thinking about the opposite recently, and like, if you made certain humans as smart as dogs or cats, then they wouldn't be so awful anymore. Like, if you made Hitler, if you lowered his intelligence to where it was like equal to that of a dog, he'd just be like a shitty dog. I mean, I guess he'd still look like a person, so he'd be like a shitty dog person. But, he'd just be the kind of dog that nips at people too much. And nobody's a big fan of this dog, but he's not massacring people, because he's just a stupid dog. So I think that's interesting. I wish we could adjust intelligences willy-nilly. We could have some fun with that. But it got me thinking. I'm watching a documentary series about World War II, so I'm actually thinking about Hitler a fair amount. And, I'm not a big fan. I don't know how other people feel about this guy, but I'm not a big fan. And I was just thinking, like, this Eva Braun, I think, is how you're supposed to say his lady's name. And, she was with him for a while. She died. They died together. She really, and I was just thinking, like, what if Eva Braun put together, like some people might have done, a pros and cons list, right? Like let's say she's putting together a pros and cons list because she's considering starting to date this guy, Adolf Hitler. And I'm just trying to imagine what that might have been like, So, on the one side, he's very charming. He's very charming. He's charismatic. He's sort of a born leader. Good with crowds. He gives impassioned speeches, rousing speeches. So he's very charismatic, no doubt about that. And I would say he's ambitious in a good way. He's ambitious. He seems to want to be. He's not afraid of responsibility. He wants to be in a position of power. Quite a lot of power, it would seem. But anyway, he's ambitious. No doubt about that. And so yeah, charismatic and ambitious. And well, yeah, he's powerful. He's got money, clearly. Has money and power, and that's always appealing to a lady, right? So, but on the other side, he's short. He's not particularly tall. He's not super handsome, in a conventional way. But he's got a small penis, actually. I have seen it, and I feel like he might be compensating for this because there are times when he has a glint in his eyes that is a little worrisome. Don't know for sure, but it seems like maybe if he was taller and more normally endowed, maybe he would be less concerned with crushing everything and stuff like this. But anyway, and yeah, so there's, I don't know, another thing about him. He's a little bit, well, he's said some things to me about Jewish people. He doesn't consider them to be people, for one thing. And he told me, I found out about some things that happened, and it worried me, and I discussed them with him, and he said, don't worry about it, they're not people. They're like rats. And I said, well, I didn't say anything because I was frightened at the time, but I was thinking, well, they seem like people to me. I'm Jamaican now. They seem like people to me, so that's bad. It's like he's a little bit genocide-y or something, and I feel like that is on the negative side. So, but it's tough to know some good and some bad with him. I'll have to keep thinking about it. So anyway, that was Eva Braun considering whether or not to date Adolf Hitler. So that'll be good. It'll be good eventually. Yeah, well, I want to close with a little anecdote about alcoholism. This is true-ish. I have on various occasions been drinking to the point, I should say, just as a point of reference, today's my 24th day sober of any and all state-changing substances except for like coffee and sugar, nicotine gum. I think it's also my 24th consecutive day not being dishonest, which is a really important part in my staying sober, I think. So it's been kind of, in many ways, it's been unlike any other sober stretch I've ever had, even much longer ones. I'm excited. And anyway, but whatever. I've said this stuff before. I believe that I'm doing things that are different, but I've said that before too. So let's just see what happens. But I'm excited. Anyway, in previous relapses, there, I would get to where I'm drinking so much and I'm not working. I'm not doing anything to make money, so eventually I run out of money, but I want to keep drinking, and so one of the things I've done is sell books, because I always have a lot of books. So, I mean, it's a pretty lame way to go about it, because I don't have that many books, and you take these books to pals, and you get like $4 per book, if anything, no matter what the book is. It's depressing. And then you go and you have a little money for alcohol. It's not a long-term solution. But, I never wanted to rob a bank really either. So anyway, I was telling a friend of mine about this, a guy I met in rehab, and he's a drug addict, technically, I guess. I'm not trying to draw a distinction. It's just he's not an alcoholic, and sort of technically, for whatever that's worth. But he was telling me, he said, "You sold books? Like if I was, I would have just sold my body," he said. And it got me thinking, like it's bad enough. It's really bad enough selling a book I really love for $4, or maybe not even getting $4 for it, but I guess at least then I still have the book. But selling a masterpiece for $4 so I can buy malt liquor is depressing enough without me trying to talk someone into paying me for sex. That sounds a lot worse than selling books to me. I think maybe it was more his reality than mine, but it's like telling me, you sold books? I would have just sold gold bullion, if I were in your position. Well, I didn't have any gold bullion, and I can't sell myself for sex without, I don't know. I can't imagine how that's going to work. And whenever I think about it, I think of these the TV show prostitution, where there's a whole bunch of prostitutes in a small area of an alley. It's like a competitive stroll situation. And it'd be all the more tricky if it was competitive like that. I just don't want to be judged by someone well, if you worked out more, I would probably allow you to give me oral sex, but nope. So anyway, I'm just going to sell books. It's not going to happen again, but were it to happen again. That's what I was thinking at the time. I'm just going to sell books. So yeah, anyway, that brings us to the end of another episode of this thing. And that's why the theme song's playing, for the sake of continuity and ritual. So, I don't know. It's pretty nice when things end the same way every time. It makes you want to just keep watching them and stuff, even if they probably could use more rehearsal and everything, and that's okay, because it's when do you get to see inside the studio, It's pretty great. Alright, well, thanks for watching, and next time, something different will happen, probably.